Happy Saturday morning, everybody. Great to have you on the call. What a beautiful day. Diana is actually, my daughter's just accosted her with the grandbabies and they're heading to the beach. So she won't be on the call. So, but you know, we
Nice
say
day
it's
for the
God,
beach.
family, work, than this. So
Yeah.
praise God for that. But it's great to see everybody's smiling faces on this morning.
And
Let me
Ken, if
share
you want to
this
make me
also.
co-host, I can mute everyone.
Yeah, let me share this with you and I'll mute everybody. That's that. And Gregg and Mena, where they are. All right. Well, happy Saturday morning. It's already March 8th. It's amazing. Man, oh man. And
Are you recording?
today's going to be amazing. Zoom also at 1 o'clock. And so with Rick and Brittany Francis, along with Steve and Gina Merritt, you know, and Ricky and Brittany Francis, they hit eight SPD in 8 months as their first time ever doing anything like this industry. And, you know, it's been interesting to see some of the people who've hit SPD in this opportunity that have never hit, they've never been in this industry. There's another woman, her name is Penny. She lives in a town of 700 in Texas, in the Panhandle. She's tried this industry for many years. She's 63 years old, and she says this, so I'm not repeating anything new. And but thanks to this opportunity, for the first time in her 63 years of trying this business, she had SPD. And I share that because sometimes we see people, you know, that bring in other organizations, they hit it pretty quickly, or maybe they've done this for a while, and then to see someone who hasn't and hit it, and someone who has but never succeeded, and they do here, it's because we have something really special, and that no one else in the world has. We have a product that no one else has, and we have a team that no one else has, and we have a system that no one else has, and we have God's favor in a way that is just absolutely spectacular. So typically a morning like this morning, we want to help brand new people coming to the organization, make sure we're catching them to get them up, you know, properly onboarded and seated. And so, but we're going to do this morning just a little bit differently. We're going to open up for Q&A. Now, the Q&A is really important, that you put your question in the chat so we can look at it from there versus unmute yourself and ask a question. So we want to be able to see what questions are being asked. This is being recorded. And so, and we wanted to run a Q&A like this because sometimes it's important for us as leaders to make sure we have our finger on the pulse, you know, of what's happening and maybe holding things back, maybe holding you back, you know. And so we want to make sure that we help you get untangled. And you're going to find that typically what you're looking for is all answers back with the basics of how this business is built. You know, I had an opportunity this morning. I was on the phone with Carrie Robertson, and it was awesome. And the conversation was, it all went back to the basics, you know. And so what you believe, what's your why, where are you going, you know. And so it's pretty spectacular. So what we'll do here is we'll open up, and I've got awesomely, I've got Gregg and Mena, fellow SPDs on this call. So we've got some horsepower. You can see Josh Holdaway, you know, so there's a lot of horsepower on this call to be able to best answer, you know, what you may be looking for, that maybe hold you back, and there are questions that's been dogging you that just can't seem to answer or get free from. And we want to make sure that we help you run. And then once again, you're going to want to be on the 1 o'clock team call today, Eastern Standard Time, and because that's going to be a great foundational call as well. So unless Gregg, Ben, if you have anything else you want to add before we open up the you know, the chat.
Yeah, the
And
only thing I was going to add is that a lot of people have sometimes questions about the product and how it's going to help people physically or scientifically. And we're like, we're not medical doctors, we're not scientists. So you might get a very general answer from us in regards to certain things. And we do refer to different things like the testimonials, stuff like that. So for business questions, those are things we can definitely answer and go through, but keep that in mind. And we'll also be able to share screens and as far as this is it info and this is a team. But we've gotten sometimes in Q&As and people are like going, is this going to help with some really weird medical term? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. We have no idea. So just keep that in mind as we're going through this. A lot of this is basically to help you build your business. And a lot of times when it comes to medical or scientific things, unless something's changed, Ken, you're not a scientist or a doctor either. So yeah, so
Nope.
we refer those to the people.
You got a website for that.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah. So just keeping that in mind.
That's awesome. Great. All righty. And Ben, it's good to see you back. And so thank the Lord, and no, that's no fun, but so glad you quickly got out of what you were in, with that sickness. So praise God. Yeah. All righty. So looking, I don't know, Greg, if you can see the chat better than I can.
Yep. It says, so Brendan, all the way from South Africa. Hey, Brendan, Mr. Elite SPD from South Africa.
Yes.
He said, I always call him Mr. Elite SPD Brendan Duplessis because it actually it rhymes really well. It says, what's the biggest mistake new brand partners make when getting started and how can they avoid it? So Ken, I'll let you start with that question and then we can kind of talk a little bit about that as well.
Sure. I think one of the biggest mistakes someone gets is they don't get plugged in and they don't get onboarded. And so life is like a camera. What you and I focus on, will develop. And we've got to know, particularly when we very first come in, it's very important to quickly adjust what we were seeing our whole life long until we come this opportunity to begin to see what we need to see now. And when we're on the Zooms, hearing other leaders speak, we're all pretty much thinking and saying and believing the same thing. So it's important to begin to listen closely to what we're thinking, saying, and seeing. And it goes back to the basics of the business. And so it's important to understand why this info is so important to share, how quickly to be able to share your story, how to successfully contact and invite, why it's important to get eyeballs on Zooms, and why it's important to get successfully onboarded. And so, like we have in our school platform, we have, we use what Kendall Weldon uses, where, what's your why? How much time do you have? What kind of money do you need to make out of the gate to make this thing real for you? And let's help you build a list. And so we can help get you a launch event started and then get you to manager. And then the power of the signing up for the next level event, why those are so important. And so having a kind of a clear view of the basis coming in, and it helps you to major in the majors. Particularly, there's so many other things you can look at. Well, I need to understand the comp plan. And can you tell me more about the back office? Can you tell me, listen, that's not going to help people get miracles on their body and get this miracle machine going. And so the most, if you really break this whole thing down in real simplicity, it's like, let's just keep enrolling people. And you enroll them, you enroll, let's all just keep enrolling people, right? I mean, really, really, it's that simple because everything builds out of that. And then let's collectively stay together, in the mix on being on team Zooms, being plugged into community and following the system. And the core of the system is what we used to refer to as 3-3-1, share 3 people a day, follow 3 people a day, and getting eyeballs on Zooms. And it's also referred to as PRO, where you patch X amount of people a day, which is being to share the patch with people a day, follow up with X amount of people a day, and to revisit. And then with the opportunity, get those eyeballs to see the opportunity on the Zoom, get all those people, invite them. And whether you can do 5 a day, 3 a day, 1 a day, or more, the key is the fundamental of getting into that basic system. And when you get plugged into the Zooms, it helps fuel the power of the system because you're going to run up to obstacles inside yourself of doubt, rejection, and just questions. And those doubts, the rejection, the questions, you'll find get answered on the Zooms. It's really powerful and with your upline. So that would be kind of a quick context, is kind of quickly get baptized and to get onboarded properly with your upline, get your eyeballs on the Zooms. And this all going to reiterate the other things I said with the system that we begin to get into. And you'll also hear today with the 20 left and 20 right. But that's kind of my kind of arms around what's most important initially coming in.
Yeah, yeah. And so the other thing that is that a lot of times what we see too is people have never been part of this industry, or they've been part of this industry, and instead of following the system that's already set up for this is a team, they try to create their own thing. And so I always tell people the system is set up to save you time, energy, money, right? All these different things. That's what system stands for. So the part to that is, once again, following a pattern for success. And the example that people, I've heard this before, but it's like, imagine walking into a McDonald's and you go, pizza, hot dogs, popcorn, and McDonald's? No, they've got a system in place. You're going to see the same thing whether you're in South Africa, whether you're here. It might be changed a little bit, but they have a system of exactly what they do, the products they have, everything else. It's the same thing with this. And so the other part to that is following the pattern, and once again learning that yourself and teaching other people. So as you're brand new people, we want to tie them into the system, because if they don't know, they don't know. So we want to make sure they get onto the Zooms that are on a weekly basis, and especially the teaching Zoom every Saturday. That's how we learned how to build this business, what to do. We knew there was a system in place. So you want to make sure you master that system. The same way if you're getting a bachelor's degree or master's degree or whatever it is, you're going to have to study specific things. Study this system, study this business, know where everything's at, so that when someone does ask you a question, you've got an answer and you can point them to the answer. That's the big key. We always tell people we want to make sure that as a leader, we know the answer, but we don't just want to give out the answer. Then we're the answer people. We want to point to where they can find the answer. Usually it's on This Is a Team. Now it's also the school platform that we utilize. So those are the two big areas that we recommend it. So I don't know if you had anything else as far as what you've seen as far as big some of the big challenges for people initially.
Yeah. Well, I agree with all that has been said already, but I just wanted to say also this, that, we have upline for a reason, and we have to leverage the upline. We actually need to edify the upline, make sure that we show people that we honor them, okay? Because that's the most important thing, because we're actually only in business because of our upline, okay? That's the one thing. And always to point to them, to edify them. We also edify, obviously, this is a team.
Yes.
Because this is a team, initially, is where it all started. This is why this team has exploded the way that it has. And so we never want to work outside of that. We want to make sure we keep moving up and saying, hey, these are the team leads. This is a team. And the team leaders, Steve and Gina Merritt, have actually put the system together. And the system is simple. Like, why would we want to go and complicate it? Why would we not want to duplicate it and teach people to do the same thing? Because now that's going to slow everybody down. So pretty much exactly what Gregg and Ken have already said, utilize the tools we already have. They're amazing. They create success.
Yep.
And this is why we have so many, I think about 100 SPDs now on This Is a Team. When we got started, there was 3. So, all that has happened for a lot of us is we've just plugged into the system. So stay plugged. That's my recommendation. Just stay plugged. Don't try to do anything outside of that, and edify your upline, utilize them, keep referring back to them, and let people know it's not about you. My goodness, it is not about you.
Yep.
Because the minute you put your eyes on yourself, oh my gosh, people are that's the expectation you've set for your team. And you probably put a lid on them. They can't go beyond that. Show them who's at the top.
Yep.
And that's what they're going to be looking at, So we never want people to look at us, because we were managers. We started at zero. We wanted to show them Steve and Gina Merritt, they were already there. And they did it in 23 days, but then there were others that did it in a year, and we kept showing them the upline.
Yep, great, absolutely, awesome. So the next question says, how many people do you need? This from Ricardo Ivory. So great to see you, Ricardo. How many people do you need to speak to get on a Zoom, get eyes on the Zoom meeting? If you speak to 20 people, how many should take a look at the opportunity? So that's kind of a loaded question, because it depends on who you're talking to. So meaning that if you're talking to people that are very entrepreneurial and you're talking about the opportunity, then really it's going to be a much higher number. If you're talking to people, once again, about the product itself and just, again, helping them, with some back pain or knee pain or joint pain, and you're not sharing the opportunity, it's going to be harder to get them on the Zoom. There's not a reason why, because you can still promote the Zoom as getting more information on specifically the product itself, but also talks about think about the caliber of people. And again, we had homeless ministry for 10 years, so I understand, different things about homeless populations. So I'm talking from experience. If I go around and go to Salvation Army and start talking to people that are homeless, it's going to be very difficult to build this business. But if you get around people that are already successful, who are success-minded, you're going to get a much different result. So each person should know, once again, the people that you're talking to, as you're talking to people, once again, kind of what your numbers are, because you're going to see that yourself, but I can't speak for each person individually. My numbers are pretty high compared to some other people because of belief and conviction that we have. Some people who are brand new, it might take them more. But the one thing we do know is what your goal is, how many people you want to get on the Zoom. You want to invite at least, not only invite, but you want to have double the amount saying, yes, I will be on the Zoom. So if you say, I want to get 5 people on the Zoom this week, you should have 10 people say, yes, I'm going to be on the Zoom. So that just get a kind of rule of thumb we've seen just in the industry. Like we're doing a Zoom meeting today, and we've had several people already canceled. Hey, unfortunately, they're not available, even though they said yes. That's a natural thing that happens. So, but that's because it is, the numbers are going to vary based upon your belief, your what your conviction is, but also when it goes to how many people that that you talk to. But the last thing I'll mention, the more people that you do 3-way calls with people that are already building the business or very successful, people who are brand new should be doing calls. If you're part of Ken's team, you should be basically getting Ken on the phone with them. Trust me on this. Get Ken on the phone with them. They'll get very excited. If you're on our team or working with other leaders like Josh or Chuck or whoever, get them on the phone with you, because those are the people that, again, they know what to say, how to say it, answer questions, and point people to the Zoom that's coming up. So I don't know if you had something you want to add to that, or Ken, if you want to add something to that as well.
Well, first of all, that's awesome. I think the leverage your upline is going to help increase the probability of success to get people on. And I'll concur that you don't want to be texting people to invite them. You want to either get, if you do that, they're getting a response they'll be on, or you want to get on the phone with them. It's more powerful when you're inviting, your follow-up saying, hey, listen, we got the Zoom. Is this something you want to get on? You want to ask them also, is this something you want? I know you're busy, and then ask them why. Why do you want to get on the Zoom? So because that's going to help kind of further qualify, and then you're going to count, of all the yeses, half are going to show up. You may get more than half if you really find out the why. So because now you're going to figure out where people are coming from, and you'll begin to see also the power of the pro system. That Steve and Gina Bear have laid out, and being consistent with it by default, that's usually going to help you answer how successful you're being, because now you yourself be able to see, well, I contact 5 people a day and I follow 5 people a day. I mean, that's 25 people a week I'm inviting to Zooms, and if you're getting no one on the Zooms, then you better be on the phone with me or Gregg. You know what I'm saying? And you better be leveraging us, because we're going to be able to quickly answer what's happening. But candidly, if you're plugged into the Zooms, you're going to realize maybe the things are saying and fundamentally what you're not believing that you need to believe, that's going to come out in your words, because that belief is going to change everything, is going to help influence the power of you to get people on those Zooms. So that would be so I don't have a hard number, but the principle of the pro system and leverage your upline, and if you're seeing not enough, that you talk to us, if you'll get it, and God will bless you in it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, can I share one thing on that we heard from Carrie Robertson this morning, which I thought was awesome? I wrote it down here from what you shared with me, Ken.
Yeah,
it said if you talk to 3 people per day, follow up with 3 people per day, and invite 6 people to a Zoom, the law of averages you're in your favor, right? And so you'll even if you get 1 person on that Zoom, the law of averages in your favor. Now, if you talk to 1 person, you invite 1 person to a Zoom and you show up and they don't show up, that's the law of averages, right? So then we're disappointed because that 1 person didn't show up. But if you invite 6 and 1 or 2 or 3 shows up, that's the law of averages. So just keep thinking about it as a numbers game as well. The more people you talk to, the more people are going to show up.
Absolutely. I agree.
Good job.
So next question. Do you need
so next question is, if I don't have patches right now on hand to share, what's a good way to patch someone in-person meeting or group meeting? Well, You should have patches. Okay.
Yeah, but
If you don't have patches, you know, if you can't patch them, literally, of course.
cut up pieces of paper.
But you are going to want to give them the information.
Yeah.
You are going to want to show them this is at info.com. We don't really talk much about the products. We show it to people if we have it on hand. If we don't have it on hand, then we share this is at info.com with them in a group meeting, in a in-person one-on-one meeting, on a Zoom meeting, you know, because, you know, I mean, a lot of our business, well, quite a chunk of our business is abroad. So we don't patch. We're not putting patches on anybody. But we're definitely sharing.
We're talking about it and we're showing it.
The way
always have it right here, right where
yeah,
we're
and the way we patch them is sharing this is at info.com.
Yep.
We are connecting with them.
Yep.
And we are telling them why we're excited, and we're not trying to be the scientists. We just tell them this is at info.com. Go take a look at it yourself.
Yep.
I mean, if they're interested, they're going to go. And I mean, we just spoke to a young lady yesterday. She was referred to us. She's a missionary. And so someone asked her to speak with us. She's looking for funding. And we were like, we love to bless people. So we are going to bless her. At the same time, we want to teach people how to fish, you know, give a man a fish or teach them to fish.
Yep.
And we shared briefly the opportunity with her, and she was interested. She said, send me the info. And last night before, I mean, we sent it to her at about 6 p.m. At 7 o'clock, she'd looked through everything already. She said, I've looked through everything. Can I see the compensation plan? So, you know, if we set it up right, we've patched them just by sharing and giving them this is at info.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, and one other thing I was going to mention about that too is that just talking to people, like today, I met Carlos. I had my daughter with me. We went to the car show here locally. There was like 500, 600, 700 cars there. Crazy. It was amazing.
Wow.
Not really the car show. It's the cars and coffee. And so we talked to a guy who's got a beautiful Aston Martin car, and he starts talking about what he did. Well, actually, I asked him, so what did you do to get a car like this? Well, I did this and this and this and this. And I said, are you familiar with stem cells? And he said, what do you know about stem cells? He goes, I had stem cell injections. I spent $5,000. So I was talking about that. I said, are you familiar with the stem cell activation patch? He goes, no. He goes, you talk about his sister, talk about this and this. And of course, then I got his information. I said, love to send you some information. Even if you don't have a card on you, my patch is in the car. So that was my fault. And normally I have a patch right on my arm so I could show them, you know, what it is. But again, just be armed to say, hey, do me a favor. Let me get your name and number. And I put it in his phone. I'll send you some information. We can talk further. So collecting information and then talking to them about it and then following up.
Yeah. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
So Lillian asked, how do we patch people when they're across the Atlantic? I think we've answered that. We get on the phone, Lillian, a lot. We use WhatsApp, and you use that with me. So I know you know how to use WhatsApp. And then obviously Zooms, you know, we share that way. We use this is at info.
There was one before that, I think.
No. What was there? How many people? No.
Okay, maybe not. Sorry. I thought it was
Okay. So, and then you understand the system. Yeah. So Lillian, exactly what I said in answer to Marie, we use this is at info all the time. People take a look at the information for themselves, and they really don't need us to put a patch on them. If they're the right people, they're going to get in and they're going to be excited, and they're going to learn to duplicate the same way that we do, you know, that we've done it. And believe you me, I don't think Steve and Gina have patched absolutely everybody that's part of their team, or that's prior to them getting in the team, because they couldn't reach that many people. They just got on the phone and spoke to them. So that's the thing. So then,
no, hold on. So Ken does something that, again, can you please share
Yeah,
what
sorry.
you do in person means when you do have patches on you. So, and even if you don't, so please do share.
Yeah, just check and reply back here. When you actually have a patch in hand, whether with somebody, is that what you just asked me? Because I was responding. Yeah. So, I mean, this has been really my key play when I meet with somebody. So when I'm talking with somebody, and I'm always going to ask them, first I'm gonna ask them, hey, what do you know about stem cells? Have you seen this past before? And no, what is it? And I'm gonna give them the basic. It's a system I have. Like you got to have systems in place on how you're gonna say what you're gonna say. And so my system is, I said, well, there's a stem cell reactivation path. This works off light in the body. Nothing goes in the body. But at our age, most are stem cells that you were given at your birth that are in your brain, your bones, your body, all throughout for healing and repair. I don't know if you knew that, but by the time you're 30, half of them are now dormant, aging setting in. By the time you're 60, they're almost all dormant. This thing turns them all back naturally using the light in the body. All of us right now in this room, if we're are all emitting infrared light. This harnesses the power of that in such a way that the brain says, thanks, I'm going to start turning on your dormant existing stem cells through light in the body. And this is what it did for my wife, did for me, did for my friend with frozen shoulder. Hey, is this something you'd like to learn more about for you? And so he asks questions, controls the conversation. So that systematic way by which I said that, they're like, yeah, sure. I said, well, I've got a link that kind of tells all about it. I can text it to you. And also, should you decide to wear this thing for 90 days, 97% of those who wear this worldwide see results. Most of my friends within several days to several weeks. But 1 in 10, sometimes 1 in 5 are a one patch wonder. So I'll say, I've got one on me and I'll share it with you now if you'd like to wear it. I said, you need the 90 days initially. It's 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I can tell you that later. But would you like to wear it? They say, yeah, yeah. And usually they see it in my hand and they'll put their hand out. and what there's no, the best place to wear is on the back of your neck. And so the women will lift their hair up, I stick on the back of their neck, and then I'll get their cell number. I said, listen, I'll text you a link on what this is. Take a look at the first couple, 3 videos, and there's more on there that you can take a look at. There's also a great Zoom going on. If you want that, I can send that to you to tell you more about. Would you like that? And then what I can do is also I could follow up with you maybe the next day. Make sure you took the patch off, but also, see what you think, if that's okay with you. Yeah, sure. Good. What's a good time for me to follow up with you? So this is being recorded, but I literally say this over and over and over because I don't have to think about all I just said. I just want to be habit, and it works. And so if people are interested, they'll wear it. And now I've got their number. I've got the ability to follow up with them in the PRO system. And I've got a time on the follow-up. This is so important. It's important that when you're patching somebody or sharing with them, if you don't have patches and you sent them visit info, you sent them maybe a link to a Zoom that's going on, or you picked a favorite Zoom you like that you sent it to them. A lot of times I send a little 10-minute Zoom that Dr. Jen did just on the health on the basis. And in case I can't get them on a Zoom that night, but I'll ask them, hey, if it's okay with you, I'll follow up with you tomorrow, to see what you think. If it's okay with you, I'll follow up with you tomorrow to see what you think. Those 3 things. And they'll say, yeah, that's good. Great. What's a good time? So now, now I've got a solid follow-up. And so now you're in play. And I'm going to call them at that time and follow up from there. Hey, what'd you think? What'd you like? And prior to this, I want to say this is so important. I will have talked, unless it's someone who's just 80 years old and they're sick and dying. I'm not going to tell them much about the business at that moment. But actually, I might. Hey, by the way, in the nursing home, you start sharing this to your nurse and people like that, you could get your patch for free. I can tell you about that after. But I'm going to let people know that, this thing is going to help you get better. Like you're going to be your best self ever in life. But but I don't know where you're at with your work life. You're getting ready to retire, but this has an opportunity to take the next 10, 20, 30 years of your financial life and potentially collapse it down the next 12, 20, 36 months of your life. Is that something that interests you too? So, it's important because we're building, this is very important. We're building amazing team. I say, listen, we're part of a team of people like you and me who are not salespeople, but we learn how to share. And just 31 months ago, we had 2 people. Now we have 300,000. We're all following the same system. We expect to have 1 million by year end. And you don't have to change anything you do. You stay, I say God, family, work, and then this. And this could potentially surpass your normal daytime job like it did for me 4 times over. And if that's interesting to you, we can talk about that as well. So it's important to plant the seeds. So actually, I went to an event the other day that it was a mistake. I had Gregg go to, and I didn't realize he was going to that one. I went, so I ended up leaving. But before I did, I just passed two people, right? And the one that I told about the opportunity, she's like, I'm getting tired of what I'm doing. I'm saying, well, this is potentially huge. Patch her, follow up the next day. She liked it. I said, when can we get on a Zoom? The next day after that was yesterday. Signed her up. She bought a 20-pack. She's ready to run. I'm doing an onboarding tomorrow for her 9 a.m. in the morning because I go to church on Sunday nights. So I'm following the system. So just I'm kind of giving you a more scope and sequence to why it's so important to make sure you've got your system down. The universe runs on a solar, we have a solar system. There's a system. And you just take the system. We have a system with a PRO system, 3-3, what do you want to call that? I call 3-3-1 PRO system. But that's a system that Steve and Gina implemented that we all follow. We don't reinvent anything they've done. We just we follow it. And so, how's your system? How are you consistent? And are you in control? He who asks questions control this conversation. Are you like I have the tendency to throw up on people? But once I got my system in place, I know in my mind, I'm quickly want to find out, hey, is this something you'd like to learn more about for you? Oh, really? Why is that? What are you looking for? And by the way, this helped bless me financially. If that could do that for you, is that something you'd like to learn more about too? And so we need to ask these questions because the builders that are going to be your leaders that are going to knock this out of the park for you on your left or right leg to knock you through get you this SPD. They're like me. When Joyce Johnson our friend called me up, she didn't just tell me about the health of the patch and then say, oh, by the way, Ken, I can show you a way to get these for free. I'm like, well, that sounds very nice. Goodbye, click. You know what I'm saying? So that may be interesting to certain people, but when she said 25 grand a week in 23 days by Steve and Gina Merritt, I was like, what? I was like, hold on a second here. So Joyce was smart enough. She knew her audience. She knew me that she could mention both. She knew I'd be excited about the patch because she knows I believe in health. But she didn't know, but what my pain financially was, but she mentioned the hope of that. And I didn't say much there about the 25 grand or 23 days, how they got there, but that got my attention. So I just want to reiterate on this call, and we're building an amazing team because we have an amazing belief. The belief walks on two legs. The leg of the belief in the patch and the leg of the belief in this opportunity. And you've got to strengthen your legs. So when you talk from your heart, you're standing on two solid legs with somebody and with the brain, with a system in place. Life is like a camera, which you focus on development is built on the basics. Like I said, Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul. Here's a guy who already hit top of the game, making billions and billions, already won all the accolades, and he's in the gym, his own gym, 3:30 in the morning, practicing without a ball in his hand. What the heck? The basics. And the interviewer said, what are you doing? I mean, you're the best. I said, why do you think I'm the best in the world? Because I never get bored with the basics. So the basics, it's of that the most important thing we do is when we open our mouth and we're in front of somebody. I mean, that is there isn't anything more powerful. Nothing. It all happens there. It all happens there. Where you get blocked, shut down, you put yourself down. It's all going to happen when you and I are in front of that person, in part. And so how to say what to say. So if you come across the 4 types of soil, weeds choke it, birds take it, and sun scorches it, you're not upset because you understand that you're coming across people with no interest. Oh, I'm already healthy. I'm good. I don't need this. Or $3 a day. If that sneaks out of your mouth, which it shouldn't. But if it does, who cares? Oh, it's too much money or whatever. Or yeah, I'm all excited that ghosts you never follow up. Welcome to life. But then you're going to hit that good soil. And you know how to hit good soil is because you're working on 2 strong legs. In your pitch, in your process, and when you're sharing this and you're getting to, hey, is this something like Little More for you? Oh, really? Why is that? And by the way, this company richly rewards those who share it, not sell it. I can tell you more about that. Set a lot of my friends free, a 19-year-old kid making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, 81-year-old grandmother in Puerto Rico doing this likewise, 24-year-old making 7 figures. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but is that something that may interest you as well? Because I can talk about that too. So, you just got to know your audience. And obviously, it always starts with prayer. Lord, lead me today. Give me divine appointments. Like I went down an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and made a mistake going to a wrong event I should have went to. But I prayed that morning and God honored my mistake, went back, and we got a new team partner. So just a little additional training to get to the root foundation on the fundamentals of this business. And I hope some of that makes sense to you.
Yeah, yeah, and the other thing that Rose, being very transparent, she said, I've dropped the ball, you know, on some follow-ups, you know, how do I reconnect to some people that I've passed or people that you've talked to? And again, we've all done that. I'm guilty of that. Kenzie, we're all guilty of. Mena's a master at follow-up, and still it happens. Yeah. So the best thing you can always do is just reach out to the person and be truthful. Say, hey, you know what? I've been wanting to reach out to you. I want to catch up with you. I'm a big proponent of not texting. I pick up the phone. Yeah. I'm going to call them. I'm going to apologize. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you sooner. Our business is booming. I got a lot of things going on. I want to talk to you more about what's going on. I want to give you an update. And if they don't answer, it's a voicemail. I'm going to leave them a voicemail. And then as soon as I hang up the phone, I'm going to text them. Because again, I'm going to leave a voicemail. I want them to hear my excitement. I got to give you an update on what's going on. And things are happening like crazy. I'd love to talk to you about what's going on. When's a good time to give you a call? I'm going to text you also. Shoot me a message. And then I hang up the phone and text them right there, because she's a master at follow up. So maybe you want to show.
And I am a master at follow up, because I put it in my calendar. Spoke to so and so today. I have to follow up that day. And I have dropped the ball, so don't feel bad, Rose.
We all have.
We just pick it back up and we start running with it. So you just get back on the phone, like Gregg said, and say, hey, sorry, I should have got back to you sooner. And pray to God that nobody else has gone and signed them up.
Yeah.
So
and the thing I was going to mention too,
because that's what happens sometimes if you forget to follow up. You know, the fortune is in the follow up. If you forget to follow up, someone else might have gone and picked up that seed that's now ready to germinate, you know, so.
Yep. And utilize these forms. Once again, these are this is a team, the follow-up forms is when you talk to somebody or as you're thinking of people, write their name down, write their name down, and then it's easier to follow with them. So, I mean, I was filling this sheet out from all the people this past week that I met, and I said, I'm writing all these names down to follow up with them.
Yeah. So I just want to, acknowledge Denise's comment, and it's a positive one. She says all her team members have been on Zoom presentations. It's powerful that they watch it. Correct. That's why we put eyeballs on Zooms, and then they do follow up. She lets them know that they need to contact her. So either way, you're going to call them up. Hey, by the way, did you see that? Or otherwise, they're going to contact you. So great job, Denise, and she's going to be our next director soon.
Yes.
So Lillian, we've answered you, and yes, Marie, you're there. So don't give up. Marie's going to be manager soon.
Absolutely.
So Glenda, I offered the patch the country. I just create an account for them and put them on subscription. Okay, so Glenda, yes. If they're interested and they live in another country, what you do is, if you haven't signed anybody in another country, you actually can choose the country that they're in.
I'm going to share my screen.
So, and Greg's going to share the screen so you can see. So you choose the country they're in to set up their accounts, and then you put their details in, you get them started, and it gets shipped directly to them. As long as we're in their country, it will be shipped to them, and they'll have the same experience you're experiencing. So Gregg will quickly show you if you don't know.
Yeah, so all the different countries are in here, but when you log in to the back, when you log into the back office, it's the exact same thing. You select the country when you're going into to do that. So if I use an example, I'll use it this way. We're already under World Changer. So if I go to join here, oops, go that way. If I go to join here, it's going to come to my packs, and then the country's right here. Now, sometimes people hit here, and then they hit join now, and now it's going to move it to the other side. Actually, no, it's still here because I'm using my phone here. So you're going to select a country. So if we had someone that we wanted to, in Greece as an example, you put in Greece here, and it's going to go back in, and they're going to have to basically, that's why I always tell them at the very beginning, once again, still our name here, go to join. When they go to join, now it's going to stay Greece. So when they hit basically here, now basically it's going to be now you can sign them up in Greece. So that's one way of doing it. There's another way to do it in the back office. But once again, you always, if you're in the back office, you'll still see the countries. You got to select that. We have made the mistake before when I'm signing up somebody in South Africa and it says US, and then I got to go back and redo it. But that's it. So that's all you got to do is go there. Now, once again, we get people from, Austria underneath, people from Australia underneath, people from Belgium underneath, people from whatever, so it's just the same line of sponsorship, but you just got to select what country they're in.
And the wonderful thing is, it's the same system. This is a team system, and everybody's building the same way.
And the only ones like in Europe, they basically are in euros. Obviously, everywhere else is actually in dollars.
In dollars, yeah.
So let me stop sharing. So go back to the next question.
So next question. We're just trying to get through the questions before open the country on the Lifeway website. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Carlos.
Carlos already answered it.
Thank you for answering.
we gotta see if it was answered.
So we have a lot of good team leaders here who are helping. Don't get discouraged. Great. Yes, don't get discouraged. Keep working, calling more people, start contacting. Yes.
Facebook friends.
The phone is not going to dial itself. Thank you, guys. You're doing awesome. How do you handle being ghosted by family and friends? Great. Thank you, Carlos.
You take the ghost. You take the people who ghost you out of your will. No, I'm just kidding. That's how I handle it. No, but again, just the same thing is keeping in touch with people. The one thing we have done, and I've had people do this, and a lot of times, if I'm reaching out to people and they're not responding, I will say, by the way, hey, I hope you're getting my messages. I'm a professional, not a pest. I said, right now I feel like I'm being a pest. When's a good time to give you a call?
Yeah.
Now, I've had other people I got a good relationship with, and this is just what I've done several times. I'll literally type in their knock knock, and then I'll type in who's there. I'll say, are you, and I say ghosting me, question mark. And so if they're friends, and they'll call back, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I apologize. Or they'll text me back. I've been crazy busy. Sorry, I'm not ghosting you. I just been haven't talked to you haven't responded in 2 months. No, but what it is that you just have fun with it, but be professional about it. Responding to people saying, hey, obviously I feel like, I'm not communicating back. Are you getting my messages? I'm a professional, not a pest. Right now I feel like a pest. When's a good time to get in touch with you? And sometimes people, if they're just ghosting, leave them alone. Go talk to other people.
Yeah, and don't try and contact them every single day. No. Oh, they ghosted me, so I'm going to call them again, and I'm going to call. They're going to just get fed up.
Yeah, and you will become a pest. Don't be a pest. Don't be weird either.
So the other thing that I do sometimes, if I don't get a response, is I let it lie for just a little bit. But every time I think of them, depending on the relationship I have, if I know who they are, I know what they like, I know, the things that hit their hot button, if I think of something or I see something that's going to connect with them, I send it to them. And they, sometimes people are not ghosting you because they don't like you. Sometimes they just are not really ready to commit to anything. And they just may not know how to tell you that. They'd rather just ignore your call. Or they have something going on in their family. Yeah. So just keep nudging, so gently.
Yeah. It's easy to say also, are you okay? I haven't heard from you. Is everything okay?
Just keep nudging gently, with things that will get their attention. And it doesn't need to necessarily be the business stuff. Just, things that they like. Them. If you don't know the person and they're ghosting you, let them lie. Maybe a month later you might say, hey, I just thought of you. I came across XYZ. We met at that place. Really, and leave it at that. But just move on. Just move on, and don't let that hold you back from building. So I think you want to Brendan's question.
Okay, so what's the most effective way why does it keep on blocking this? What is that?
Way to help.
Sorry.
Move it out of the way.
I know, I'm trying to. It's a way to help someone make a decision after they've seen that this is an info or a Zoom presentation. So what's the most effective way to help someone make a decision? That's a great question. So Ken, you're very good at closing and helping people make decisions. I can answer that too, but go ahead.
You want to ask them, hey, is this something you're interested in? And why is that? And because that's going to basically answer if they're going to want to go a step further or not. And, because you can't ask questions to control people to come into the business. That'd be awesome. you know?
Yeah,
And
that's
so, that's why we're continuing to, that's why the power of the system, the 331, or, the power of the PRO system. It's numbers, as Josh mentioned earlier. By just continuing to stay light on your feet and sharing, that's going to keep you finding people that you can say the wrong thing to, they're still going to come in practically.
Yeah.
So, because that's your good soil. And I'm going to come back to a couple of things you could say, but always remember the reason why it's important to quote, scatter bountifully, using the parable of the sower. Jesus had the perfect seed, was the perfect product, and farmers scattered it out there, hit 4 types of soil. Birds took it, we get sun scorched in good soil. So, and if you scatter sparingly, you're going to reap sparingly. Scatter bountifully, says you're going to reap bountifully. So just the action of talking to a lot of people on a consistent basis is going to yield you results. That in itself is going to yield results. So that's principle 1. Okay. And that's not one person, but the principle of bountiful. Step 2, then, what you're asking is, okay, they seem interested, send them this at info.com. And now you're following up. And then obviously, if you get them on the phone, because this is going to be not a text, you want to get them on the phone, and you're going to ask them, hey, what'd you think? What is it that you liked that you saw? And was this just for you, or was it also for some of the people you love and care about? You think it helped them too?
I'm reading that, just so you know.
And so once then you kind of know where they're coming from, because now you've got a volley where the ball went across and it came back to you. Now you're kind of in play with communication with them. And then you can say, well, you mentioned, whatever, you got this, well, there's a great Zoom going on tonight, or I got another video, but if you're ready to get started, we can help you get started. I've got an app in my lap, and another thing is you want to be prepared by prayer and expectation. You want to be expecting to enroll somebody when you're following up. And then you can plug them on the Zoom after you sign them up. And they can upgrade them after that. So just having a continued follow through expectation on the call is going to help you get them signed up in the follow up, as long as you're asking, hey, what'd you think for yourself, or how about for others? And, and if you talk about the business, does that interest you as well? I've got an app in my lap to get you started, at least get this patches on you, are you ready? So that would be my.
Okay, so I'd like to add something to that, and that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken. So I think it was Renita Brannon that mentioned this, or either at Rise Up or one of the other conventions that we've done. But when you're talking to people, you're not just sharing this as an info. You obviously, there's some conversation that has led to that. So maybe they're like, hey, I hate my job, I don't make enough money, or hey, I have no energy in the morning, and they're glugging like Red Bull, like 5 of them in front of you. So when after they've looked at it, my thing is, and I did steal this from her, and next time I talk about this, I'm not going to tell anybody it's from Renita Brannon.
Like I always say.
But you want to tell them, hey, the last time we spoke, you said you're tired of your job, like you want to get out of there. You're working so many hours, no money. You want to buy that new car, like you're driving an old chunk that's like breathing like heavy smoke, and so do you want to change that story? Like, isn't that why I shared this link with you in the first place? Like, are you not going to want to change that story at some point in time? Like, this is why I shared that with you. So go back to why you even shared that with them, their reason why, because like, I don't think any of us just walks around saying, hey, this is at info, this is at info. There's some conversation that got us there. And then I always remind them of that particular thing that like that got me even sharing, because I don't just share, if people have a reason why, then I'm going to say, hey, I might have something for you. Well, what is that? You know what, I'm going to share this website with you, tell you a little bit about this as I'm wearing it or whatever. And then go back to that. Like, when do you actually want to change that story? Or what else are you going to do that's going to help you change that story? If it's not this, what else is it? You know, just do that.
Hey, can I throw something out there as well on this, guys? You know, I just kind of
Please.
thought about this. So, you know, we're talking about how to not convince somebody to do something. Obviously, you know, with such great things to do, follow up, and everybody's got such awesome things on this. But think of the idea of, would you rather follow up with one person 30 times or follow up with 30 people once? Right? You're going to get such bigger of an impact doing it that way. And think of it, you know, if you want something so much more than they want it themselves, you're pushing rope up a hill. They don't see what you see. So continue to plug onto them and drip on them, but just move on, you know, and just keep going on to these people. And, you know, you never know what position somebody's going to be in. And Chuck, I hate to put you on the spot here, but he's such a great guy in my life, him and his wife and his family. But, you know, when we first talked about this, you know, he was semi-interested in just trying the product. Wasn't really looking at the business. And then once it kind of clicked and he wanted to do the business, he invited me over the house. And I love the story he tells on this. Invited a lot of people and hardly anybody showed up, right? It was a really small meeting. And we could have both walked away disappointed, say, okay, well, we thought this was going to be something big, but it's not. Since then, he hit executive director and he is one person away. And it's going to happen today of hitting 1,000 people on their team today. So I just wanted to, you know, compliment you and say, awesome job, Chuck. You're the man.
That's great.
We're both fighting over the same computer. I'm trying to move something around. She's moving around. So anyway, so I was going to say, but any questions you have, please put, you know, in the chat. That's, you know, that's why we're here. The other thing I was going to mention.
Yeah, we're almost out of time.
I know. Yeah. But if there's any other last minute questions that people do have, please put them in the chat so we can answer them. But, and so the other thing we always tell people is, you know, if you have questions, again, I always say a good thing to do is try to see if you can find the answer yourself on This Is a Team or on School. Feel free to shoot the message to upline, but make sure as leaders, we always want to point them to the source. I've said this earlier, but don't be the answer person. I don't want to be the answer person. Oh, well, Gregg knows the answer. Gregg knows the answer. And next thing you know, I'm spending half my day just answering questions that can be found on one place. This is a team. So the team site, the people ask me, well, you know, I don't understand the commission plan. Can you go over that with me? Absolutely. Go to This Is a Team. Go to where it says LifeWave Compensation Plan. There's 2 videos in there. Watch the 2 videos. And after you get and watch the 2 videos, if you still have questions, we can answer some questions. Because I could spend a half an hour trying to explain the compensation while I have someone who is Steve Merritt, who's the #1 rank in the company, and Danny McDaniel, I think is one of the top 3 people or 5 people in the whole company from a compensation standpoint, that let them teach you. So once again, always absolutely let me point you to where you can access that information. Because that's what we always want to do, is point them to the source.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Ken, is there any kind of other closing comments? Otherwise, that's
Yeah.
kind of my closing
You
comment.
got about 8 minutes here.
Yeah.
The one thing I was just looking back. Sorry, as I'm looking at my computer here. The hold on a second here. Go back. You know, I want to talk about the dynamic of the power of this as a team is has been everything for us. And so, and then I also want to give you the scope and sequence to why we created Believers for Life as a community, because we're simply taking this as a team and we haven't changed anything with that. We just simply take all those components and put them in the same formula. So some of those who have been working with our school format, you're seeing everything from this as a team. So, and also some extra horsepower we have down our right leg that we're bringing from Kerry Robertson and from Dana McDaniels and things that no one else is seeing also into that dynamic. And so, but we can talk as we begin to develop, you know, more about the power of this as a team, how all those components are sitting on our Believers for Life school platform. And similar to what you said, you can, and so we have both links. So this is a team to go find it there, like the compensation plan. And also we have that same video from This Is a Team. We just pulled it over, you know, under, I think it's step 5 or 6 under our school platform. And then you can just scroll down and see Steve Barrett explain the compensation plan. And so so you got really 2 resources that are the same thing, if you will, and you can kind of choose your flavor. But as we go forward, I know with what we're doing with our Believers for Life, we're going to help you get onboarded very quickly. And so my wife and I were working on getting you quickly on board and get new people on board by watching the welcome video, the first 2 steps, all the videos which are from This Is a Team. So that keeps you majoring in the minor, major in the majors. And so it's we're excited. So I don't want to bring any confusion. I want to bring a compliment. There's a team is the umbrella, all the pieces we have from that. If you get familiar with it, get familiar with it on it. Those pieces are sitting also on our school platform as a reference point to make it bite-sizable, digestible for you. But so that's just an FYI. Any other questions here?
Another question, 2 other things I did want to share real quick. One thing that just came through today, and you're going to be hearing more about it, they're probably going to mention it at the 1 o'clock meeting today. But Steve and Gina are starting another road tour. So they are going to be in Texas at the end of the month. So if you know people in Dallas, Josh Holdaway, and Houston, Josh Holdaway, in this case, because you guys get people there. I know,
Renee.
I know, just saying, but I'm picking on him. So, but anyway, same thing with West Palm Beach. They're going to be there. And obviously, Carlos, I sent you a message earlier about Orlando. They're doing a Spanish meeting and at 7 p.m. and an 8 o'clock meeting in Orlando on the English for us gringos that speak English. I'll be at both of those meetings, so for sure. Obviously meeting our Spanish team there in Orlando, which is great with Glenda and everybody there too. So keep that in mind. Men and I are going to actually Charlotte, North Carolina this week. Unfortunately for a friend of hers that she passed away, to be there with her family. But we do have some meetings set up for Josh. If you know anybody in Charlotte, North Carolina, we're going to be in that area. We've only got a couple days, so we may be able to meet them for coffee. We may or may not, depending on the schedule, but let us know about that as well.
We've got
for
West, Southeast Florida.
I'm sorry. And then also at the end of, actually beginning of April.
5th of April.
5th of April, we're going to be, and right now we're setting up, we're trying to look at Fort Lauderdale, Miami, doing a meeting. Mena and I are going down there and doing a meeting there as well. So that will be more information to come on that, but we want to let people know. If you do have people in these different areas, Dallas, Houston, West Palm, Orlando, also down to Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, we'll be doing something later on. And then, like I said, just Charlotte. Because like I said, if we're in town, hey, let's meet people if we can. And the last thing was, again, Next Level, they did extend the pricing. The pricing has gone up since the early bird pricing. It's no longer the early bird pricing, but still discounted pricing. But still, you want to take advantage of this. So I don't know if Ken, if you want to share anything more about that, but this is the number one thing. If you can get people involved and get them signed up for Next Level, your business will explode. And this is still, 5 months away. So
Absolutely. Let me make sure I'm muted here now. We have Danny McDaniels did an amazing video presentation that I think is foundational to why attend events. And in it, he talks about his prior industry where he had made $40 million. It went from $3,500 over 5 like Next Level events at another company to $80,000 a month. And all leaders will say that the foundation of this thing is built, of this business is really built from event to event. And right now we only have 2 a year. And so, how do I say it? Signing up for events like this and getting as many people to it. So Danny had contacts. When he first came to the opportunity of this other company years ago that would do 3 events a year, his upline said, hey, he was 4 days old into this, said, hey, Danny, you need to sign up for this next event. And he goes, I need to make money. No, he said, this is how it's done. And he said, okay, we set a goal to bring 20 people. They brought 22 and 35. Then they set a goal to bring, X amount. They brought 45. And then by the 5th iteration, they had over 500 people because they had sewed in the culture of their team to be able to get people and have their people bring people to these events. Because what happens is, once again, when you go to an event like this, it's not like going to an event where you get all excited and come away deflated when life hits you. You go in your conviction level and your belief level gets deeper. And so what happens is now you're going to come out of that enrolling more people, calling people up, people that maybe would have called before, you're going to call. Well, if you had 10 other friends in that same position you were, and they're all on your team underneath you, then your paycheck's going to get 10x in short. And so we saw this when we went from 1,000 a week to 1,000 a day from an event like this. And it's the smartest way. It is the smartest way. And this is the cheapest investment you'll ever make in yourself, ever. I mean, it's just a few $100 per person. And you'll get that money back in spades. And so, and it will help accelerate your growth of your business to get you to where you want to go, particularly in SPD and into Elite. So, and as you begin to see this and believe it and share it with your team, you're going to win big and smart. So that would be, and I have on and we'll share the link, but and we'll push it back out. But on our school platform, we have that Danny McDaniel's is this other, this is a team. We've got it. And it's a 7-minute video. It is a foundational video. We'll get that back to you as well. All righty. So it's 12:29 here. And Brendan, you had a quick question. I was trying to understand. Could you just say it? Because I was trying to interpret what you meant there. Is that?
Okay, I actually think we can wrap it up, but I wanted to just say, like, if there was one sentence that you could just, if you just left someone that was interested in the opportunity, and there was one thing that you could say to them that would be enough information to set them up, that they would never feel lost. You know, something that you could share with them, and you know, it would take them, you know, to where they wanted to go. But yeah.
Is that someone who's not in the business yet, not made a purchase yet?
Yes, not in the business.
That's the question. That's going to come from the question you and I would have asked them on where they're at, what they're looking for.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
In the business,
Yeah.
in the business.
Okay, maybe this is the answer. I don't know. You tell me. But I would probably say, hey, you know what? I have already let you know how great this opportunity is. So if you're willing to learn from me, just realize, you know, it's not about me. I'm following those leaders. The success that we have, or the success where we're at right now, even if you're a director or manager, where I have got to right now is because I followed those leaders. And you point to the leader. So, you know, if I'm following them, I'm going to tell you now, you're going to get all the support that I get from them. And that can give you the success that they have, because that's where I'm going. I don't know. I don't know if that's what you're, you know, I mean, set it up so that it's not about you. Make them realize they're into something really big, and show them what it is, you know, point them to what it is. And this is where I get all my support from. This is a system. These are the tools, because, you know, it's not about the individual. So I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that's a great response. I think I think it's the core of the question is like the golden nugget, you know, something that you can share with someone that sets them on the right path. You know, the gold penny, the golden nuggets, something that just is like so precious that if they just listen to that, and I mean, that was also quite a great response. And yeah,
So
thanks. Also, Ken.
maybe this is a better way of saying it. Hey, you know, getting success in this business is about being a copycat. Just make sure you copy the right cats. Say, I've decided to copy these cats, you know, and hey, if you choose to do so too, we're bound to have success together. And just let them know that. Show them all the leaders. You know, there's a network marketing business where they have a book. It's called the Success Book.
Yeah.
Profiles
of success.
Profiles of success. And you can purchase that, and you can sit down with someone and you can say, hey, you know, they were serving they were a waiter.
Yeah, but
this
point to other
person,
people's success.
and
Yeah.
you point to all their success and show them the different stories. So copy the right cats. This is what the business is. It's about being a copycat.
Yep.
And we just copying the right cats.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. All right. And here because we're going to exit, but I do want to share this real quick here. So we're going to share what we're going to show you is this next level explode your paycheck. This is the 7-minute video that Danny did that on why, and you're going to want to share this with your team if they haven't seen it yet. Also, we'll get this out to you. This is on our school platform, but so that you can basically see this here, and it's powerful. So, all righty. Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Appreciate you being a little gracious with us being a couple minutes over. All great intel. This is all recorded. So we'll have that available to you as well on a school platform. And I'm sure Greg and Mena will have available to their team as well. And so if it's okay with you all, I'd like to close this out in prayer. And if you got to go, we get it. And but 1 o'clock's the next meeting. It's going to be very powerful. You're going to want to get your team on that thing. It's going to be awesome, very foundational. If you can't make it, you're going to want to see the recording. So let's go ahead and close this out in prayer. Lord, thank you for this opportunity. And we just pray you bless everybody in the call who's on the call to go, and continue to bless our team, left and right legs. Lord, more of your favor. Lord, more hope. Lord, in Jesus' name, use these questions that got answered today. Be a blessing to all. And bless now Steve and Gina Merritt and Rick and Brittany Francis on the 1 o'clock call. Richly, Lord, to continue to prosper, that this is a team as we're all working to get to 1 million strong. Lord, in Jesus' name. And we thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for my good friends, Gregg and Mena. Lord, what a blessing, Lord, from when we first introduced this opportunity to Gregg. And just to see what you have done and the power of just sharing with one person how that can spread to so many. And so we just thank you. May we never underestimate that. But we pray for divine appointments for all of us today to go forward and continue to share this opportunity, and that you go before us and bless us, Lord, for your glory. We thank you for this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody.
Amen.
Well, blessings to all. Greg and Mena, really appreciate you guys. Are awesome.
Thanks for everybody
Great
sharing.
leaders.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Josh.
Greg,
thanks
and
for the
also
great-
Josh all the way, and
Thanks for
everybody
all the
else.
great questions.
Yes.
Great questions, everybody. Everybody did a great job today.
And
TV up.
get your tickets for
Next
next
level.
level.
Book it
Before it
today.
sells out, it's going to sell
It's
out.
gonna sell out. I'm telling
We
people.
got 100 SPDs
I
this
am-
time around. We didn't have that before. This thing is going to sell out.
Can I
So
just share something quickly? Now, while we're on the call, I shared this with my mom's dentist 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And he didn't use it for himself, but he referred 2 people to me, because his answer to me, or when I told him about this, he said, we are researching stem cells right now. And he says, we're excited about this. But he didn't try it for himself. He actually just referred 2 people. And you know what? I've been so consistent in not just nudging him at all, just being, every now and again, when I'm in South Africa, I'm there, I take my mom to see him and things like that. And I talk about what's the excitement, the things that are happening in the business. And guess what? Just now, while we're on this call, I haven't spoken to him since December. He messaged me, he said, hey, man, I want to try X39. Please send me the order form. So, hey, you never know.
Keep on.
You
keeping
never
on.
know. You know what? You got to stay true to your why, your business. Let them see you going on and becoming SPD or director, manager, whatever it is. Let them see you moving on. Don't quit. Don't quit. People will follow leaders.
Amen.
Can I share something real quick?
Oh, Marie, yeah.
I have a local shop owner that I always go in her shop and get stuff, and I'm like always seeing her injuries and stuff. She had knee surgery and now she broke her wrist, and I'm like, let me patch you. And she goes, oh no, I've got something else on it. But I finally did do my research, and someone came in and said that their doctor said their eyes would never heal, but they've been wearing the X39 and they're starting to be able to see again.
it's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's
Marie.
amazing.
Thank
All
you.
So
right, thanks,
she's-
Marie.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you,
All righty.
everyone. Sorry
Thanks,
about
everybody.
that.
Yep.
Thank you.
We're
I just have
excited.
a quick, Ken, I have a good testimony in Spanish. So from one of my team members, she's
Is it
just been
recorded?
through 3 weeks in the patch, and she has an autoimmune disease. And she's a partner, and she's able to, those 3 weeks, she only take painkillers 1 day.
Wow.
So
Did you record that with her, and then also while you're with it, you interpret it in English?
okay.
And then we'll
That's
put
what I wanted
that
to know, if you guys want to have it for the Spanish.
Of course.
for
Yeah.
both in Spanish.
They
and
just,
then
he just
if
sent it to me yesterday. I was like, oh my God, Carola, this is awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah, one in Spanish, and then if you could record another one that where you would interpret it as she's
Okay.
saying it, then we could, who don't speak Spanish, could hear the power of the testimony as well. And for those who do speak Spanish, we can get it. We'll get both of them too.
Yeah.
Both of them, for
And,
sure.
and he's talking to her doctor because, he's the one treating her, and he's amazed too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome, Denise.
Yeah,
Great
I have
job.
to tell you, Mena. So that was last night.
That's
Wow,
awesome.
wow, wow.
Praise
Great.
God.
Well,
See you
sorry,
next
guys. We got to
Yeah, we're getting ready for
say
the other
goodbye.
meeting. So yes, bless you all. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Ken.
much. Keep
You got to
sharing.
work on.
Thanks,
Blessings, everybody.
everyone, for sharing. Bless you. Bye.